Welcome to Session 1 of this complete e-learning training course in the PRINCE2 method. This introductory session is intended to help you get the most out of the training program and to give you a basic appreciation of what PRINCE2 is and why it is relevant. Once you have completed this session, you'll be able to state the objectives of the course and match these against your own learning requirements. You will know what a project is and be able to define a project using PRINCE2 terminology. You will be able to explain the problems that PRINCE2 sets out to solve and why such a method needed to be devised. Finally, you will be able to list the principal organizations that are involved in PRINCE2's development, support and promotion.
One of the major advantages of PRINCE2 is that there is a universally recognised set of examination standards, which are independent of the training providers. The UK's Office of Government Commerce, who is the author of PRINCE2, defines two levels of student examination, namely foundation level and the more advanced practitioner level. A pass at the foundation level is a precondition of sitting the practitioner examination. This foundation course has been specially configured to give you all the information and training that you will require to confidently take the PRINCE2 Foundation examination. Should you wish to go on and take the practitioner examination at a later stage, then ILX can provide all the necessary additional training materials. However, examinations are not really what PRINCE2 is all about, and many people just want to use PRINCE2 to improve the quality of their project management. So, perhaps a more important business-oriented objective of this course is that once you have completed your studies, you should be able to operate as an informed member of a project team, operating in a PRINCE2 environment.
In addition to the e-learning course, there are some paper-based materials that will help you in your studies. The first and most important is a copy of the PRINCE2 manual itself. If you've purchased this course as part of one of our bundled packages, then you will have a copy of this book. Otherwise, if you haven't already obtained one from elsewhere, we strongly recommend that you buy a copy either from ourselves, from the APM Group Limited, or from the stationery office. You are not allowed to take the manual or any other materials into the foundation examination with you, but if you are serious about PRINCE2, then you really should have your own copy of the manual. You may also have been provided with a document called the Course User Guide, either in paper-based or electronic form. This useful document contains a more or less full transcript of this course content, slightly modified to make it suitable to the different medium. Although by no means essential, you may find this document useful both during and after your studies.
During this course, you will come across a number of characters that are involved with PRINCE2. Let's introduce you to some of these characters before we get started. Here we have the project board, which is responsible for the overall direction and management of the project. The project board consists of the executive, seen here sitting in the middle, who is ultimately responsible for the project and is supported by the senior user and senior supplier. The project manager runs the project on a day-to-day basis and is responsible for producing the required products to the required standard and quality. In addition to costs, timescales and quality, PRINCE2 goes on to identify 3 further variables which will affect any project and which need to be managed to achieve a successful project outcome. These are scope, what exactly the project will or will not deliver. Risks, regardless of the nature of the project, all projects involve risk. The management of risk is an important theme in PRINCE2. And benefits, in other words, why are we doing this project, or will the completed project deliver the expected benefits?
Every organisation, however large or small, faces 2 distinct imperatives. These are to maintain business as usual, in other words, continue day-to-day operations, and to change in order to compete in an ever-changing environment. Organisational management is increasingly focused on balancing between business as usual and change. Projects are a way to bring about change, and although many skills required to manage an organisation can be considered generic, there are some important skills which those involved in projects should possess. PRINCE2 defines project management as the planning, delegating, monitoring and control of all aspects of the project, and the motivation of those involved to achieve the project objectives within the expected performance targets of time, cost, quality, scope, benefits and risks. But what specifically makes projects different from business-as-usual activities? Well, this can be defined by a number of specific characteristics. Firstly, change, which by their very nature projects bring about. Projects are also temporary in nature. Once the required change objectives have been achieved, then business as usual resumes. So projects have a defined start and, just as importantly, a clearly defined end. Projects are often complex and involve many skills from different areas, internal and external to the organization. They can be considered to have cross-functional characteristics. PRINCE2's customer-supplier approach means that the project as a whole benefits from differing perspectives, each contributing to the intended change. Although organizations may undertake similar projects using a proven pattern of project activity, each project is still in effect unique. After all, even similar projects are likely to involve different resources, locations or customers. Finally, all projects contain a degree of uncertainty. The four characteristics we've already discussed here will, by their nature, introduce threats and opportunities to the project. These can be considered over and above those which are encountered in business-as-usual activities.
A good starting point to answering the question, what is PRINCE2, is to understand exactly what PRINCE2 is not. PRINCE2 is not a piece of computer software. PRINCE2 is not a planning tool in the way that Microsoft Project is, for example. PRINCE2 is not carved in tablets of stone. It is designed to be flexible to meet particular circumstances. PRINCE2 is not, like some of its predecessors, unnecessarily bureaucratic or cumbersome. PRINCE2 is not restricted to large projects. It can be applied across the board to projects of all kinds and sizes. PRINCE2 is not a guarantee of successful project outcomes, but it certainly can help prevent embarrassing and costly project disasters. So if PRINCE2 is none of these things, what exactly is it? At its most basic level, PRINCE2 is a book which is produced by the UK Government's Office of Government Commerce, or OGC, and which entirely describes a structured method for approaching, managing and closing down a project of any type or size.
One of the great strengths of PRINCE2 is that it is truly generic. It is applicable to any project regardless of the scale of the project, the type of project, the nature of the organization, culture, or geographical location. PRINCE2 achieves this by isolating management and specialist aspects of project work. In effect, the day-to-day work on the project is handled separately from the production of the project's deliverables, known as products, in PRINCE2. PRINCE2's generic nature can provide significant benefits in all facets of business activity, while strengthening organizational capability and maturity.
To help promote PRINCE2, the OGC has collaborated with a number of organisations. The Stationery Office, for example, are charged with printing and distributing the manuals. The APM Group Limited in High Wycombe have been appointed by the OGC to coordinate the examination procedures and to accredit the various training organisations such as ourselves. Companies that have been approved by the APM Group to deliver training in PRINCE2 are referred to as Accredited Training Organisations, or ATOs, and are thereby entitled to use the PRINCE2 logo on their training and promotional material. A higher level of accreditation is provided by UCAS, the United Kingdom Accreditation Service. They audit the procedures of the APM Group to verify that they meet the standards expected of a professional accrediting body. There is a well-established user group for companies and individuals that use PRINCE2, or any of the other OGC-inspired best practice approaches, such as managing successful programs and management of risk. Contact details of all of these organisations can be found by clicking on their respective names.
This brings us to the end of Session 1. In this brief introductory session, we have seen what a project is as defined by PRINCE2, and we have seen 6 variables of a project as recognized by PRINCE2, namely costs, timescales, quality, scope, risks, and benefits. We went on to look at why projects exist and what differentiates a project from business as usual activities. We described what PRINCE2 is and how its generic nature makes it applicable to projects of any type. Finally, we outlined some of the key organizations which collaborate in order to support PRINCE2.